All right.
We back.
We're back.
Is it working now? I hope so.
Let's try it again.
Cool. Yeah, we're not even going to pretend to put our tea in because we already did.
We already did it. What did you do again?
I'm doing the chamomile because
Nice.
I need to feel calm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the mood for today anyway. It's cloudy here in Calgary.
I'm doing the lemon because, citrus is fun.
Nice. Okay, I think we should be good to go, but we'll start from the top. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Tea for Lunch, the show where we serve up the news you need to know in 15 minutes or less.
If you're new here, every week we'll come at you with a main story covering some sort of marketing angle. Could be a summary of new technology, breaking news in the industry, or trends that we're watching. You can catch this show on Instagram Live Thursdays at around 12:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, or you can listen to the replay every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you
want to listen to. Yeah,
wherever you catch them.
Yeah, we were just chatting. We had some trouble shooting to do, but we were just chatting about how quickly time is flying. I feel like maybe a bit of a time warp. You blink and it is September. It is chilly outside. You walk out and you legitimately need a jacket.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm loving it though. Spring and fall I'd say are like my favorite seasons just because it's like I'm able to, kind of style cooler fits and not necessarily have to cycle through like the same short t-shirt combo.
I'm in the same boat, man. Yeah, I bought so many new t-shirts this summer because I feel like I only had 3 that I actually liked.
Yeah.
But now we can layer and we're like jackets and sweaters and hoodies, and it's just that much more comfy anyway. So
and it opens up an opportunity for us to match with our half
zip. Yeah. So that's what we were talking about before before this segment of the show. Is you were like, we match. So yeah, that's great. Harrison, this is our first show, man. It's gonna be great.
I'm excited.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's jump into our first story of the day. Crypto.com accidentally sends a customer $72 million instead of a $68 refund. Let's just talk about like the currency here. So that's in Australian, but so it's equivalent to like 7.2 million USD, which is really like $70 USD, because of a pretty unfortunate typo. Unfortunate for Crypto.com. Very fortunate for the person who's receiving it. Here's the funny part though. They didn't even notice it until 7 months later when they were doing an audit that a portion of the money was already gone. The person who received it, instead of reporting it to Crypto.com saying, hey, y'all dropped 7 million USD in my bank account, obviously didn't report it.
So I read, also I kind of, what I read was that the person had typed their account number in like in the dollar amount.
Oh, from Crypto.com?
Yeah, that's what that employee had done. So that's
they need coffee.
Check your forms.
Yeah. But the person who received the money, they went ahead and spent it. They bought a $1.3 million home and moved a bunch of the money into a private account. And they didn't report it. So now that they know that the $10 million is gone, Crypto.com filed a lawsuit. They're trying to get their money back. They've successfully put a freeze on the account. And the court is telling the person who received the money that they need to sell their home with interest. The court continues into October, but what a story.
That's wild. It kind of reminds me of that one story of that guy who had just sent a bunch of like kind of ominous and like miscellaneous invoices to like Google and IBM and Microsoft, and they just paid them, and then they didn't catch them till about 2 years later.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I think as a big company, it's like
yeah, Crypto.com is not a small company. Like the Lakers arena is literally named after this company. So I wonder how big their accounting team is. And I wonder if that's actually the issue, is because like it's such a big team that no one person bothered to even check that a casual and cool 10 million is missing.
Yeah, and maybe it kind of like introduces a conversation of like what intermediaries should exist between when you take money out of your crypto account and put it into your actual account. Like what kind of verification process should be stepped up or something, right? To like have things like this like get flagged more immediately.
Yeah. I'm on her side though. The person who received that $10 million, it's like, for me, it's not really a policy, but actually no, it is my personal policy. Yeah, it's like you got 3 months to get your money back. I don't care if it's 5 million or 10 million if it's $5. You got 3 months to get your refund. Otherwise, I'm gonna consider it mine.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, my question for you is: if you randomly woke up one day and found $10 million in your bank account, what's your move?
Oh, that's tough. Invest half. No, probably more than half.
Nice.
And then
that's the responsible answer.
Yeah. And then, spend some on the family for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know. I think that kind of money, it's like that's way too much for me to even fathom. So
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, it must be nice. Me, I would be shook, and then I would disappear. You would never see me again. I would change my name, and
Like that.
I all of a sudden wouldn't speak English. So
Yeah, go full Carmen Sandiego on him.
yeah, peace out, everyone. Anyway, that's the first story. Moving on to the next.
Yeah, next up we have Jerry Seinfeld was enlisted in Kith's fall 2022 campaign. Kith is again calling up Seinfeld star Jerry for the premiere of their new fall line. The full collection includes collaborations with the likes of Russell Athletics and New Era, the latest Ronnie and Clark's original collabs, and various New Balance colorways that they've been doing. And the collection is set to release this Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
So
what are your
cool.
thoughts?
So cool, man. I'm into it. Actually, at first when I saw it, because I follow Kith, and they're doing some really cool things, I think, in men's fashion, especially like elevated men's fashion with Aimee Leon and Kith obviously is a leader in that space. They're doing really cool collabs. I know Aimee Leon does, like, they did like a collab with Questlove, and it's kind of the same thing, just like really cool guys doing it. But my first initial reaction when I saw the photos come in is I'm like, this guy kind of looks like someone from my high school that's trying to sell me drugs. And then I'm like, you know what? No, this is cool. This is totally the vibe. I like it. I don't know if this is appropriate to say, but it's kind of like giving me like daddy wear vibes. Where it's not
definitely.
like the corny kind of dad wear with like the dad cap and the like old New Balance
Yeah,
shoes.
it's
but
like
more
super like smart looking.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna go to the grocery store to buy a bib for my kid, and I'm gonna do it looking fresh.
Totally.
So-
I mean, they did. Yeah, when they did the same thing with their spring line this year with Steve Buscemi, it was the same vibes.
Yeah.
But I think what was so funny about the Steve Buscemi one, it was like the actual real life equivalent of that gif of him where it's like, hello, fellow kids, but he's like actually
Yeah.
doing it in like this crazy gear.
And they're mindful about it too, right? Because Jerry Seinfeld actually was a graduate from like Queen's University or Queen's College, sorry, in New York. So they're not just like picking like random people to model for it, and they're not traditionally models, which is I think what making it kind of cooler as well, because it's a bit of like a juxtaposition between what we traditionally see as like the pretty model. Headlining like a cool drop, but like
Yeah.
people who actually have influence and have done something cool outside of modeling.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a cool little mash.
I'm all about like off kilter approaches to fashion, man. It's super
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, a lot of cool things happening. So a lot of people are talking about it. It's going to be a dope drop as usual. Kith is right up there with Aimee Leon for me. So
Yeah.
love it.
Good stuff. Next
Nice.
story, final one.
Okay, this one I'm sure we're saving the best for last. Y'all probably heard about it, but it is the Don't Worry Darling movie premiere and all of the drama and tea happening with it. You wrote this in the script, but it's kind of like a Fleetwood Mac style drama because it is intense and it is comprehensive. I don't even know
Totally.
where to start, but let me try my best to see if I can consolidate all of the different drama happening. So for those of you that don't know, Don't Worry Darling is a thriller movie set in the 1950s, featuring a housewife living with her husband in a utopian environment. I'm worried. I don't know why it's called Don't Worry Worried, because everything outside of the movie is making everyone worried because it is a hot mess. All the talk has not been about the movie. It's about everything that's leading up to it. So let's start with the Harry Styles. This is probably the one that's sweeping the internet right now. You've probably seen the videos. There seems to be like a new update hourly. Yesterday, he just opened his concert acknowledging that he actually... Well, he jokingly said, I went to Venice to spit on Chris Pine, which 2 days ago, that was like the whole drama
That's
around
so
it. Is
cheeky.
He
That's
sat
so
beside Chris
cheeky.
Pine and
Yeah.
it looks like he sat. So let's talk about this specifically first.
Yeah.
Thoughts on it?
So, at first glance when I watched the video, I couldn't really tell what I was looking at because it just felt like there was so much going on. And Chris's reaction of like clapping and then stopping and just
Yeah.
looking down and kind of like, almost like cynically smiling. Like I was like, oh, like what happened here? And reading kind of more of the context about whether or not Harry actually spat and looking at the frame by frame breakdown, I was
by
like,
frame.
I don't think he did. Like
Yeah.
personally, I don't know. But also I have no idea what Chris could have been reacting to.
Yeah, because it's a weird sequence of events. Like Chris was obviously clapping and like everything was fine, and he obviously stopped. And there is, if you frame my, I love that. It's like a sports analysis. It's that serious. We should have the accountants over at Crypto.com investigate this because they'll do a fine job. But like they'll get to the bottom of this. But like he definitely looked like he made a gesture with his mouth, and then Chris Pine stopped looking and looked in a direction where like the spit would have landed.
Yeah.
I think it helps now though that time has passed because Chris Pine obviously said that he did not get spit on.
Yeah.
But in that moment, there was definitely two schools of thought as to like whether people thought he spat on him or not.
Totally. Well, and like Twitter too is just a place that kind of becomes like everyone's like almost true crime cork board whenever celebrity tea comes out. Like everyone's just like connecting the red string to whatever possible case.
Yeah.
There are some valid points, but there's also like a ton of reaching.
And I feel like and we're gonna get into like the other side of it and probably like the stuff that led up to this is because the whole premiere and like the whole lead up to the movie has already been so rooted in drama, the internet will do anything to like pick and choose what to amplify and what not to. So like if there had been nothing leading up to this, it would have probably not even been noticed. But because everything is being like investigated under a microscope of what's going to happen next, they caught that moment. And now, because I don't even know is there any reason for Chris Pine and Harry Styles to have beef other than that one clip of Chris Pine just like zoning out when Harry Styles is talking about the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like all the info that I have on it is kind of from like the Florence Pugh speculatory side of things.
Right. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So Florence Pugh for a little bit was in relations with Zach Braff, who is very close friends with Jason Sudeikis, who is Olivia Wilde's ex-husband. And Florence is kind of the only person that has a cohesive timeline of when the divorce between Olivia and Jason happened and when Olivia and Harry started getting together on set. And I feel like this personal conspiracy stuff, but like I feel like that is kind of the reason why she hasn't been at a lot of these premieres, because she's probably worried about like the information she holds and people being like, "Hey, you want to share?"
Yeah,
she's
like, got the insider tea. Yeah. So you think she's doing it to protect Olivia and the film, or more to just not be involved?
I think she just doesn't want to be involved. Like, you know, she's always kind of been a person where even though being a part of like these huge, like really successful films, she's always just kind of like stayed pretty out of the limelight in terms of like celebrity drama and stuff, and she probably just doesn't want to get roped into any of this. And to be honest, same here. I'm like so anti-confrontation like that, totally. So I feel her.
Yeah, there's a lot to keep track of. I had to read like a whole article to figure out the timeline of this, so y'all can do that on your own. But aside from that, the movie apparently is really good. It just is hilarious that you have a bunch of people who seem like they want nothing to do with each other working on a project.
I mean, it is the Fleetwood Mac rumors of cinema.
Yeah.
Which there's your homework. Go read about the history and the writing process of the album Rumors by Fleetwood Mac, because there's tons of archival tea there.
Yeah, and even if you don't, Dear Internet will keep you updated via memes, because that's what we do best.
Yeah, and now that we have whet your palate, go eat something more substantial. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, man.